Hello and welcome to another episode of No Huddle here. I am James Lilquist, and we are brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. And guys, I know, we only have so many of these left, so let's just sit back, take a deep breath, and embrace that we have another Saturday in here. Thank you guys for a little break. I went on vacation. I know Caleb tried his best to do everything behind the scenes to get shows going, but now we're back. And then we're going to be going all the way straight into bowl season because I am going to be there. Good morning, Adam and Kayla. Hopefully you guys enjoy everything. But let's get a little bit little recap of last week's results and everything. We had some really big games, and also if you can hear, I'm a little congested, a little tired. The changing of the seasons out here in East Tennessee kind of jack up my sinuses. But you know what? We play hurt. We play through the pain. So if you hear me mute and everything and cough, just bear with me here. You know, we're making it through it. Oh, and we gotta go Tigers. Well, you guys are gonna get talked about here in just a few minutes here, because first we have to talk about Washington defeating Oregon State 24-21. Another thing, Washington, they're starting to get a little hot at this time of year, and we still got to look at the Pac-12. I mean, I know not everybody wants to look at the Pac-12 during this time of year, but they got a couple of teams that have an outside shot of making it to the CFP playoffs. So we got to keep talking about it. But we also have to talk about, since, Caleb's a Georgia fan and I'm a Tennessee fan, obviously, we have to talk about what happened last week. And we have to talk about how Georgia made a Step Brothers reference to Tennessee last week. They made them lick a certain white substance that, if you know anything about the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But honestly, Georgia dominated the line of scrimmage there. They really showed that Tennessee has they're there, they're getting there, but they're not quite there yet. And they showed what the upper echelon of college football is. And they really, the score of 27-13 really wasn't a microcosm of how this game was. It was more dominated by Georgia, but also give credit to them. They also took the air out of the ball in the second half, knowing that if Tennessee ever got hot on offense, they were going to be in trouble. So, good win from Georgia. They become the number one team in the country, and they're well-deserved it. And, they got a shot to go to, the SEC championship game and also be the number one seed in the playoffs. So good on them. We had Illinois show that the Big Ten West is absolutely, quote unquote, the worst conference in college football. I mean, it was terrible. They lost to Michigan State, who's not very good, 23-15, and it wasn't even that close of a game, it felt like. So, the Big Ten West is going to be the sacrificial lamb in Indianapolis in a couple of weeks, and it is what it is. Good luck next year. Hopefully, they'll reschedule, they'll redo those conferences when UCLA and USC come in. Kansas becomes bowl eligible by beating Oklahoma State 34-16. And my goodness, what has happened to Oklahoma State? They lose their starting quarterback and everything just goes to unholy you-know-what. I mean, it was bad. Pitt beats number 20 Syracuse 19-9, and there you go. There is Pitt. Everyone was trashing Tennessee early in the year for pounding their chest for beating Pitt. Well, Pitt could actually come up and sneak some teams in. But we talked about it, David. LSU, number 10 in the country, beat number 6 Alabama 32-31, and absolutely the biggest. What was it going to call? We're going to call that a Marbles moment for LSU. You know what? Kelly went in there and was like, we're going to go into overtime. You think Alabama's going to somehow eke this out? They kick the extra point. And you know what? LSU just goes out there and goes, hey, we're the ones who do that. And you know what? We'll talk about, the CFP here in a minute here, but we're going to save that for another couple of weeks, because I still want to see how everything works out there, because I really do not think that the CFP wants to put a 2-loss team in there, especially with all the 1-loss teams like Michigan and Tennessee that's going to be and TCU probably that's going to be sitting around there. So we'll see how that happens. I feel like the CFP is kind of like, whose line is it anyway right now? They're just making it up as they go along. But once again, great win by LSU. Alabama is showing them that they are Charmin soft this year. They are 10-ply, bud. They are not the Alabama we are used to. But we're going to also move into Texas. Texas beat number 13 Kansas State last week, 34-27. They have a bigger game this week playing TCU. That is a big game. I'm hoping for Texas, as a Tennessee fan, to beat TCU for obvious selfish reasons. So we'll see what they do this week. Notre Dame defeated number 4 Clemson at the time. Holy smokes. Who would have thought at the beginning of the year, Notre Dame loses to Ohio State, loses to Marshall, and loses to Stanford at home. Those 2 Marshall and Stanford losses were at home. And then Clemson comes in there and they get ran. Absolutely ran and made them look silly. Made Clemson being in the CFP picture absolutely silly. North Carolina State defeats Wake Forest 30-21. I don't know what to make of the ACC this year. I bashed the Big Ten West here just a few minutes ago, but the ACC is also in that running for being terrible this year, and I don't think you'll see any of them in there. Okay, so Ole Miss, we will get to them here when we talk about this week's games, but Ole Miss there, I don't want to see Loverboy Lane get his wins only because I'm a selfish lover, and I still have a little bit of hate there, but I also hate Alabama more, so we probably will be rooting for the Land Shark Black Bear Rebels, whatever you want to call them, when that game starts. So we're also going to talk about right now the news that happened from last week. Kansas becomes bowl eligible for the first time since 2008. Now, where were you guys in 2008? I know I was at Mississippi State Community College, about to rejoin the Air Force. Oh, by the way, happy Veterans Day. Hopefully everybody who was a vet got their free eats as they should, and hopefully had a great day. Also, happy birthday to the Marines. We would not stop them if they wouldn't do that. We're gonna talk. We love those crazy people because they are the best at breaking stuff. So we're gonna get back to this though. Coastal Carolina loses Grayson McCauley, their star quarterback, out for the rest of the season. I think he's probably going to opt out for the bowl game, only because he is actually probably one of the better quarterback prospects coming out for the NFL draft this year. So I'm really excited to see how he's going to translate to the next level, because I think he's a really great quarterback. And then Conference USA agrees to a media rights deal with CBS and ESPN starting next year. They will have midweek games starting in October for conference play. And you know what? I'm excited for this. Bring me more of the MACtion. Bring me more of the Fun Belt in the weekdays. We need more weekday games because Thursday night NFL football is absolutely terrible. For some reason, they're not good, and I don't know why. But we got this here, and I don't know what we're going to call the Conference USA games yet, because we got the Wednesday night Fun Belt or Thursday night Fun Belt. We got the weekday MACtion. We need to find some cute name with Conference USA, because it is one of the most generic conference names ever made. So we'll get to that later. Now we're going to talk about another version of Tigers there for all the Louisiana guys. We got to talk about Clemson, because the Dabo coaching tree. Have we found a less effective coaching tree than the Dabo Swinney coaching tree? Because USF just fired Jeff Scott after 2 seasons, going 4-26 overall. Let me repeat that. 4-26. Even worse, their conference play in the American Conference was 1-19. 1-19. Now, I never thought that Chad Morris was going to be they were going to have a worse coach than Chad Morris coming out of SMU and Arkansas. But Jeff Scott decided to say, hold my beer, and be absolutely worse. And, we're going to, since I brought up Chad Morris, let's just talk about him. He was hired at SMU as head coach in 2015. You got a record of 14-22. He was hired at, which was 8-16, which wasn't bad. Hired at Arkansas at 2018. He proceeded to go 4-18 in 2 seasons, and 0-14 in conference play. Fired after 10 games. losing some terrible games up that time. His coach roster sits at 18-44. 18-44. That's just awful. And Brent Venables is not doing that much better at Oklahoma right now. He was given a Ferrari and proceeded to turn that thing into a Yugo in 1 year. We're talking they are currently sitting at 5-4 in the Big 12, 2-4 in conference play. They have been outscored. But let me remind you guys, Brent Venables is a defensive coordinator. He is the guy who was supposed to stop. He was the guy, the mastermind behind all that great Clemson defenses. His team is being outscored by 52 points in conference play. 52. That's not good. They were voted preseason to finish second in their division, and they are now in the bottom of the barrel. They're fighting with the Texas Tech, West Virginias of the world and the Iowa States. Shout out to Matt Campbell for not having a great year this year. But defense is allowing 435 yards per game, almost 200 yards rushing from Oklahoma. That's not good. 253.3 passing yards per game. That's 69th, and that is his best stat. 69th, which is very nice. Almost 30 points allowed this season. That's good for 87th in the nation. And then you turn around that. We tried this. Tony Elliott, hired at Virginia this year, was actually a name for some big name jobs last year. Thankfully, didn't take them. Took Virginia. They currently sit at 3-6 in the ACC. 1-5 in conference. They've been outscored by 40 points this year. Once again, offensive mastermind. Now, everyone was blaming DJ Uiagalelei last year for being the reason for Clemson's offensive struggles. Maybe it was Tony Elliott, because they are only getting 16.1 points per game. That is 123rd in the nation. 552 yards per game, 125 yards rushing, and 226 yards passing in the ACC. And to total all that great pile of meh around, former Dabo assistants are 40-76 in their coaching careers. That is not a good coaching tree. That is a bad tree. And to bring this one up, actually, this is a really good question. Do you think this is does Campbell bounce back, or did he miss his chance to the NFL? I don't think he ever wanted to go to the NFL. So I think he always wanted to wait for the Ohio State job. That may never come up, but it's something that he has to pretty much weigh. I think he's in a great spot. I just think this year, with all their talent and everything moving around, I feel like that was a issue that they needed to just they need to have one of these years that they take a step back. They got their win over Iowa. I think they did. Yeah, I believe they did. And they're just going to move on and build on for next year. So I don't think they've missed anything. I still think he's a really good coach. They're just having a bad year, which you're allowed to have those at Iowa State because the talent is just not always there. But we're going to move on to the big Week 12 games. We have, let me get this all up and running. We have, for you LSU fans, they are playing Arkansas in the Battle of the Boot, which is probably one of my favorite games. I wish this was happening on Thanksgiving like it used to. But if LSU wins this game, they win the SEC West title with a Bama win. So I know you guys don't like Bama right now, but if Bama beats Ole Miss, you guys become the representative in Atlanta. So I understand that puts you guys in a bit of a conflict, but are you guys gonna be cheering for the Tide? Huh? You guys want that? Because that could be a little interesting. We also got Purdue at Illinois. Winner stays in the Big Ten title West race to go to Indianapolis. The loser, this is a eliminator. Good luck next year. We got Alabama at Ole Miss, number 9 versus number 11. If LSU loses, both of these teams still have a trip to Atlanta if they win out. If they don't, then Ole Miss still has the Egg Bowl going on. So I still think that this is LSU's division to win. However, Ole Miss is always going to make it interesting. UCF versus Tulane. Now, I know a few people are going to go to this G5 game this week. This is a preview for the ACC title game, probably. Winner will be the favorite to go to a New Year's Six Bowl, which is very big for those guys. That's a lot of money that they get to go in there. And then we got Washington versus Oregon. And this is where I hope all the Oregon talk stops, because we have all these people talking about Bo Nix, Heisman. We're trying to talk about, they're trying to get Oregon to be the college football playoff talk. This is where it can end, because I know Michael Penix is not always the best quarterback in the world, but he does get up for these big games. And this is actually probably their biggest game of the year outside of Washington State, which only people in Washington care about. So that's another big game. It's also a potential pitfall for them. I'm going to take a drink of this water because my throat sounds like it's giving out. There we go. Sounds much better. Kansas State versus Baylor. Now, a lot of people probably are not looking at the second place of the Big 12 because everyone just sees TCU and everybody else. However, because of the way Big 12 has their conference championship game set up and everything, I feel like everyone should be looking at who's going to be number 2 and who's going to be playing TCU in there. And Kansas State and Baylor is kind of like a Big 12 title eliminator match. To bring it into wrestling terms. This is where can we see if Kansas State shows up, or are they going to fall off the wayside after losing their quarterbacks and everything, and can they actually get back up and get off the mat? Baylor's still there. Shout out Dave Aranda. He's doing actually a pretty good job with the talent that he's losing all throughout the year. But the big game for the Big 12 will be TCU versus Texas. With a win, TCU clinches their second Big 12 championship appearance, which is great for them from the Mountain West back in the day. If Texas wins, they get to pound their chest as saying, we're back. We're going to be going to the SEC. Forget y'all. Throw the deuces and light the fire as they walk out. And then we also have North Carolina versus Wake Forest. And this is a big game because North Carolina clinches the Coastal Division if they win this game, which is a very big thing for them. This can get them into a New Year's Six Bowl. Probably won't get them in anywhere else, but it's a big thing for them because I don't think if you had North Carolina going to a New Year's Six Bowl at the beginning of the year, I would have called you a liar. So I'm super excited for this. Anybody else got any more questions out there for the group or the fans? I don't see anything. I'm actually looking forward to this week. I'm super excited for all the games out there. Of course, I'm going to be watching at 12 o'clock Tennessee and Missouri for obvious reasons. We're going to have hopefully a good bounce back game. I mean, I know the offense didn't look great against Georgia, but I think Missouri is probably coming in for the right time to do the JOB. But if anybody else don't have anything, we're going to call this a little bit early. And I want to thank everybody from Rocky Mountain Sports Network for having me here. Shout outs to Keith. He's the one who helped me get this thing up and running this morning. And if anything, have a good day. Enjoy the games, guys. See ya.